This video is sponsored by Card Kingdom. You can visit their store by using my referral link in the description below. So, Skrelv is pretty good. He's not like a bomb or anything, but his ability to protect your creatures, his ability to, give things toxic, he does a lot of cool stuff. Charforger, very strong. Signpost, uncommon. Volt Charge is great. These two white cards are also quite good. So there's four actually. The Shepherd's here too. Four pretty good white cards in this pack. We've also got Anoint with Affliction, which is great removal. Thank you for the resub, Lord Waffles. It's kind of a hard pick. I kind of want to avoid white. I wouldn't if this was like insanely good. But because there's so many good white cards in this pack, there's going to be multiple people who jump into it. So I think I'm just going to take Volt Charge. I think red's the best color. I like Anoint too, but it takes some work to actually do its thing. So I think we'll take the charge. I don't think it's that much. I mean, I think it's about as good as Skrelv, frankly. So it's not really a huge deal. I don't normally take into account signals that much, but in a pack with that many good white cards, you kind of have to a little bit. So probably the Fusling. It's a good red card. It becomes big quite easily, gets silly with oil counter payoffs and stuff. I do like it a lot. I like the Evangelist too, but it takes enough work. And then we're passing a couple of other playable white cards. I think it's safe to say we're not going to be playing white. Somebody else is. Okay, interesting. So the Reservoir is great. It does take some work to build around it. We do already have two cards that work well with it. That may be enough for me to take it here, especially because the other stuff in this pack, not great. Attendance, fine. I do like the blue-black deck a lot. One of these days, I'll actually draft it. You basically need this card to make it sort of a synergistic proliferate deck. But I think we just stick red with a really good red card. Yeah, I mean... Alright, so we're now looking at a pretty medium red card, but it might still just be good enough. Yeah, I mean, everything in this pack is kind of medium, frankly. I think we probably do just take another red card. It's a fine 2-drop. Sometimes it blows something up. Has the artifact type that doesn't matter a ton in, like, red-white or... Well, it's probably not where we're going, but it could be. Still, who knows? We'll take the Slinger here. Okay. So, yeah, the only awkward thing is I do think... I mean, I like red-white a lot. I think red-green is probably better. But, yeah. So, Siphoner's okay. I mean, it's definitely better in a black-white deck. Same for Inquiry. Rib Skiff and Injector are both fine. Yeah, I mean... Not any green cards here I want. I could just take another red card. It's certainly a playable one. And again... We're not really looking at anything special in this pack. Maybe we'll get Koth. Get paid off for sticking with red. We do have a good black card here, but there's so many cards in this format that are like build-arounds, and this is another one. Like, basically, you have to play it in black-white. It's not particularly good in the other black decks. So, Sprinter versus Cackler. I do like them both. I honestly think the Cackler is a little better. This can definitely do some stuff, but... this ends up being one of the better payoffs for this. So, for oil counter things, that is. Okay, so Charforger Wield. That is a pretty good reason to grab it and consider going into black. It's incredibly good. Amasses charge counters. You can cash them in for cards. It's also just a 3-mana 2/3 that makes a 1/1. So, yeah. Okay. So, Nimrazer Paladin's also quite good. Not too hard to get a 2-for-1 out of it. I do like these cards okay. Black-Red's not really a legit sacrifice deck in this format. Okay, another Charforger Wield. Well, I guess I'm pretty happy with our decision to just take red cards there, huh? I'll take the Head Cleaver. It doesn't make a ton of sense in our deck, but, it's not terrible. Annihilating Glare, if we end up with the right support stuff, is certainly solid. And, with a couple Charge Forgers, we have some expendable bodies, so... Alright, so now I do think we'll take a Centurion. You know, like I said, this deck's not usually a legit sacrifice deck, but it certainly has a sub-theme. And, you know, we may or may not end up playing Centurion in the end. We'll have to see. But it's not unplayable, so... Good old Charforger. Man, so here's Phyrexian Obliterator, which is cool. But unless you're pretty, you know, you have to be like an 11 or 12 swamp deck to play this, and I just don't see us ending up there. And there's also just another Charforger. So is Obliterator in a vacuum better than Charforger? Absolutely. But, you know, the mana cost does matter, and Charforger is quite powerful. So we'll just take the Forger. Okay, we are doing oil counter things. Not like a ton of them, but we are doing them. And it's fairly reasonable we'll end up with more. So I think we probably take Ichor Plate Golem over, you know... I would like some tricks. You do want them in this format. We don't have any yet. Crescendo is certainly one of those. But yeah, I think we take Ichor Plate Golem here. Buffing all your oil counter things and giving your oil counter things more oil counters. Although, they do have to be the kind that come into play with counters on them, which right now I think is only our Fusling, right? Yes. Yep. Yeah, I don't know why they put that mirror stuff in here. I mean, it's definitely not just here for limited, but it is a bit of a bummer they didn't put in something a little more interesting in terms of that. So it's Contagious Vorak is pretty good. I do like having Hazardous Blast. It's definitely better in like red-green than it is in what we're doing, but it's pretty good. I think we'd probably take a Cackler. I just think we have enough oil counter stuff going on that we're pretty interested in this as a 3-drop. I'm thinking we can probably pick up a Hazardous Blast at some point if we really want one. Like here. Is here where I do it. I mean, I could use a Rebuke or a Skull Bomb. They're both fine for our deck. We aren't exactly killing it on removal at this point, right? We've got our Annihilating Glare. And Volt Charge. I guess we're not desperate for a Molten Rebuke at this point. Yeah, maybe it's just Hazardous Blast. Yeah, we'll go ahead and grab the one Hazardous Blast that one generally wants in this deck. In most decks, really. Bladehold Warwhip is really strong, but we don't exactly have fixing. I think I'd probably take Terramorphic Expanse over the Dross Pits, because this does give us fixing. Could end up mattering. Okay, so another nice trick here, and we still aren't doing great on them. We're also not doing amazingly on low drops, so that's something to be a little concerned about. Offer Immortality is a nice trick, but I do think we probably take the Punisher. It's just a really good 3-drop. Okay, Cacophony Scamp is definitely something we want. We need low drops, and, you know, has a bit of synergy with our deck, too. Free from Flesh is the trick that we really want, but I think we need low drops even more than we need tricks right now. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, I would have taken that. So, Testament Bearer, I mean, I'm not a big fan. I think we'll just take the land. All right, now we'll grab a Magmatic Sprinter. We could grab another Expanse, which would give us the opportunity to more easily splash something in the next pack, but there's no guarantee we're going to open up something worth splashing, and the Sprinter does enough with our deck that I think we take it. We do have a lot of 3-drops. So, I don't hate Grimnark. I'm a little tempted to take the rare because of gems, but I think we probably take the Grimnark here. Yeah, alright, so... Well, we get a Spell Bomb. Skull Bomb. You know, that is an early play, even if it doesn't necessarily do anything. It is something to sack. Alright. So, Phyrexian Arena is not great in this format. You can sometimes end up in a legit control deck that can make it work, but mostly paying 3, not adding to the board, and putting yourself on a clock without your opponent doing anything is dangerous here. So, we do have another good low drop. We're not really interested in poisoning people, but it does trade for everything. We've also got Volt Charge. Whisper of the Dross isn't terrible. I mean, I probably am supposed to take the Skull Dweller, just because... Well, what are we looking at now? Yeah, we're still pretty low on early drops. So I think we kind of have to value the Skull Dweller here. Is it better if we're actually infecting people? Obviously, but, you know, you can't have it all. So, Sawblade Scamp's a nice 1-drop for us. I do think, Anoint with Affliction and Chimney Rabble are both really good. I mean, even if we're not getting this going, it's still a good removal spell, and sometimes we will. Well, maybe sometimes is an exaggeration, but it isn't impossible for our deck. And we're not doing amazingly on non-creature spells, so I'm not that into the Scamp at this point. I think we'll take Anoint. It also sort of fills a 2-drop slot, which we kind of need to do. Another Churning Reservoir and another Charforger. How about that? I mean, the Reservoir is kind of weird in multiples. I mean, that much is for sure. Because it doesn't do anything on its own. I don't hate Zenith Chronicler, although we do have 3 Charforgers. I think maybe I'm just supposed to take another Charforger. It is more likely it wheels than Churning Reservoir. Maybe. Maybe not really. I mean, we did see 2 of them wheel in pack 1. Yeah, I think we just take another Forger. Does make all our sack stuff better. Okay, so 2-drop here, that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't hate Necrosquito. But, as I keep saying, we need early plays, and... Shrapnel Slinger is one. It's kind of a subpar one, but I think we take it. So, okay. We already have a Blast. I don't really want a Prism. I'm going to grab Serum Core Chimera. I mean, I don't think we're going to end up splashing it, but it is possible. There's another one. Ooh, Drown in Ichor, though. Yes, please. That's a late Drown in Ichor. It's a good one. Okay, we get a Free from Flesh now. Definitely wanted one of those. Kind of would like more than one. So another Annihilating Glare, which is definitely good in our deck when we have 4 Charforgers and a few other little payoffs. Awaken's sort of interesting, but it's too inconsistent at like stealing a thing and sacking a thing overall. So I think we're looking at Annihilating Glare or Offer Immortality, and I think we have enough removal and could use another trick, so I'm going to go with Immortality. Whisper of the Dross is okay. We've already got 1 Sphere. It's just an interesting deck. Wonder whether I want to play the Grimnark. All right, I think we probably take a Scamp now. We could take Dark Slick Shores and try to splash the Chimera, but Scamp is probably just better. We do have a Prophetic Prism now, too. And another Prophetic Prism. I don't think we're doing anything with them, but... 4 Charforgers is a lot, but not in a bad way. I mean, I think every time you draft a black-red deck in this format, you would want 4 or more Charforgers. Don't think we want Whisper. I don't think we really want the Grimnark. I mean, we are sort of a mid-range deck. So Grimnark's a little more interesting than it might be otherwise. But yeah. Yeah. We have a lot of 1-drops. Not that many 2-drops. I wish we were a little better at oil counter things, honestly. I mean, we're definitely doing them, but I wish we were better at them. I think we probably cut the Grimnark. I mean, I think what we're going to do with, like, big mana late is, you know, draw extra cards and play them with Charforger and stuff like that if we have a bunch of mana late. Do I want the Skull Bomb? Honestly, I'm considering cutting at least 1 Shrapnel Slinger, and I'm definitely cutting some 3s. We have a lot of 3-drops. So I think maybe we don't really want the Centurion. I mean, it does have, you know, Charforgers, makes extra bodies, which is nice. But I just feel like everything else we have is maybe better. I mean, we're not doing anything awesome with the Scamp. We don't have equipment, for example. So maybe it could get cut in the end after we picked up several 1-drops late. Yeah, the Centurion is definitely not great in general in the format. So I think we probably cut it. You know, it does give us a way to get oil counters on things, but, you know, that just sort of happens organically, too. Am I really a Hazardous Blast deck? I mean, the question is, how often will I have, like, 10 plus damage on the board that can just kill my opponent? And the answer is not that often in this particular deck. Like, in red-green, it happens all the time. In red-white, it happens. I'm less confident about it happening here. So I think we cut the Blast. I think we cut a Shrapnel Slinger. I don't love Forge Hammer Centurion, but it does like oil counters. I maybe cut one, though. I mean, Furnace Punisher doesn't have, like, any special synergy, but it's an efficient enough beater that I've been pretty happy with it in general. So we have one more cut to make. I don't think it's the Paladin. Like, you know, bringing back Charforger, for example, it's just going to happen in this deck. I could maybe cut Offer Immortality, I guess, and just stick with Free From Flesh. I don't hate that. Okay. Not the most amazing deck ever. Mostly because we have way too many 3-drops. And I'm a little worried also that we don't have great top end. You know, the 5-mana, we saw it. The 5-mana 4/5 haste guy would have been nice. But it's not a terrible deck either. I mean, we've got removal. We've got good cards. We've got some synergy. So it's not a disaster. It's just not what I would draw up either for the most part. You know, other than the 4 Charforgers. I have 2 cards with Proliferate, I think, between the Cacophony, Scamp, and Drown and Ichor. And there might be another random one that I'm not thinking of. Oh yeah, we also have Volt Charge. Man, all the swamps. Yeah, can't really keep it. Okay, this is acceptable. I think we probably put the Paladin back. Okay. Let's see if they play a... They don't. It's nice sometimes when they play the land that... one of these. That's what I'm trying to say. Because it can allow you to just do 2 free damage. I think I'm going to play the Punisher first, just because it should be able to get in for some damage. Plus, like, if I can play Charforger and then attack, obviously that's preferable to other stuff. But yeah, so they exile that. Yeah, the Scamp is pretty conditional proliferate, but it does proliferate. Alright, so... I think we probably play Charforger. I think there's a pretty good chance they kill it, but we do hold on to the 1/1 at least, which means Annihilating Glare will be online if such a thing is important. Nice. They used that before the trigger so that I couldn't sack the token, so... We do get the token. Fourth land, huh? Not planning on using Annihilating Glare this turn, so I'm going to leave up Free From Flesh. Do they have yet another removal spell? They might. We're not doing great here. The fact that they were, you know, just dealt with our first couple of threats is a problem. That's also a problem. Luckily, I can deal with it, but, yeah. Okay. Interesting that they did that when they did it. I guess there's a pretty good chance they have the trick that gives indestructible and hexproof. Okay. Well, that's also not something I want to see. We're at 2 poison right now. So if I kill... Ugh. This thing is just a pain to block is the problem we have. I wonder what I want to kill more. I guess it's probably the Basilisk. It's going to enable Skitterling. I mean, there's a chance they get there anyway with the Skitterling, but yeah. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and sacrifice... Is killing Slaughtersinger better? Like, on this board, honestly, I don't think it is. The Death Toucher is just very difficult for us to block effectively. So, yeah, we'll kill the Death Toucher. We'll pay 1. We'll sack the token. Wonder if I could get them to block. Probably not, but it's probably still worth attacking here. Because if they do block, things go really well for us. If they don't block, they take 2. So, yeah. And then we'll play another one. Hopefully they don't have more removal. Okay, so they do get us to 3 poison here. Unfortunately. Yeah, I wonder... Their deck does seem like it's, like, straight up 3 colors, which I don't recommend. But that does appear to be what it is. Okay, so Free from Flesh becomes a lot better when you have an Ichor Plate Golem around. Yeah, so I think we play the Golem and probably pass. I could attack and hold up Free from Flesh again, but they have mana up that they could do something in response, so I don't really think it's worth it. Yeah. Oh, good. My army of 2/3s lines up so well against your Ichorspit Basilisk. If they're going to use a fight... Of course, it's probably not a fight. Oh, it is a fight. I probably... I mean, it's a 2 for 2, so I think we probably do it. Yeah. It will... Hold on a second. Creatures you control. Yeah. That makes it big enough that they both die. So there's that. Okay, so we're gonna sack our pits. Okay, play a Skull Dweller. It does seem like it's gonna be a long game now. Which I'm not sure how much that benefits us, but... Our deck has the capacity to be grindy, but, yeah. Well, there's a Charforger. That helps. Necrogen Rot Priest is a big pain. but stalled out boards. People act like this doesn't happen in the format. It does. I mean, I think if they attack with Rot Priest, I would definitely block it. Yeah, the card quality does seem high. They have 2 Skitterlings. Okay. You have a lot of mana over there. We do finally have something with an oil counter, which is good for our cacklers. We both have like a card advantage engine in play, but theirs has like already done the thing that it needs to do to start going wild, and ours has not. So this is definitely a situation where Hazardous Blast might be nice, but we still wouldn't really be able to do lethal, right? Yeah, no. Okay. Wonder if I'm just supposed to block that with my Skull Dweller, or if I'm honestly, I think we just take 3. You know, we're already at 3 poison. There's no reason to fight. Well, it actually will get us up to 5 poison, but I still think we take it. We could try to fight it, but once you're at 3 poison, fighting to not get more poison is not that important. They do have us up to 6 now. And we have nothing. I guess I'm probably going to have to block this time with my Skull Dweller, which will make this bigger, and we'll get an oil counter on Charforger. Certainly matters. Yeah. The only problem is, if I block with my Skull Dweller, we end up in a kind of ugly situation in terms of other blocks, but at this point, I kind of have to do it anyway. Gets us to 7 poison. We will pass. Yeah, now they can attack us pretty effectively. Sort of. These can attack as 4s right now, which is nice, I guess. Drawing our guy who gets us back a cheap card would be good. Ugh. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. We'll see how they attack. The Rot Priest can attack... Well, yeah, I mean, it becomes a 2/6, so it can kill multiple things. 2 things that are blocking it. So I would imagine they attack with the Rot Priest. Maybe they don't want to trade 2 things. I don't know. I think I would. Yeah. Well, they probably have a trick, but we're not really in a place where we can, you know, not block. So we're going to block. It's not a place you want to be, where you kind of just have to block, but we do kill both of those. All we have left is a 1/1, though. Of course, it's not like their board is the most imposing thing I've ever seen, either. Well, nice. The Charforgers. I need their help. Yeah, I mean, the Cultivator's kind of pointless at this point. Uh-oh. Okay. Well... I was just about to say, we could really use removal, but this doesn't do the job. I haven't played with or against this card yet. Obviously, it's really good, but... Oh, good. There's also a Tyranax Atrocity in the mix. So... I think we're going to block and then use Volt Charge. I guess I could have gotten my Charforger to 3 counters, but... if I did this in a different order, but I think it's acceptable. We have to find removal, basically. Yeah, they'll sack that, actually, so... We do not have them poisoned enough for Anoint with Affliction to do the job. I mean, I actually don't think the risk is that high with Archfiend of Dross, frankly. Like, it's not that hard to win the game with it. Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't stop them. I mean, Anoint with Affliction doesn't do anything. Yeah, we could have used a bomb or something like that to get there. Instead, we just have a bunch of Charforgers, which, I mean, Charforgers are good, but they didn't really help us much in that particular game. Yeah, the only the biggest problem with the Fiend is if your opponent uses an aura on it, that's pretty miserable. But apart from that, I mean, the downside basically doesn't come up. Yeah, it's really not that hard to win. Like, most games are just going to be won by that card if it gets cast. Or, I mean, the other alternative is your opponent kills it, in which case, obviously, you don't lose the game. So, you know, the outcome of it making you lose doesn't happen that often. We really need to get a 1-drop, like, in our opening hand. But, you know, I'm probably... Oh, there's a 1-drop. How about that? I think we're probably supposed to kill Crawling Chorus here. Glissa is really good against it. That's true. Even if it is a rare. Interesting. Alright, so let's play Ichor Plate Golem here. I guess this was probably the better play. Well, now it definitely was. Man, our first 2 opponents have both just had removal for everything we tried to do. I think we trade this in for the counter. I think we'll play the Cackler here. We will take 3. Now there's a Basilica Shepherd. I'm not loving our chances already in this one either. We can try to race, but it's not going to go very well. I guess it's our best option, though. I get a 5th land, I'll feel a little better, I think. Because I'll have a big enough creature to just block the ambassador and I'll get something back. This all seems familiar. Yeah. Not looking good. I don't love black-red as a deck, but, you know, I think when you get 4 Charforgers, you're probably supposed to play it. Yep. We are dead. Yeah. I don't think I've 0-3'd in this format yet, but we're working on it here. Okay, so we go to 1 if we're lucky here. Actually, I guess it makes more sense to block like this. That way we at least keep our Nimraiser in play. Mythic ain't with this deck, yeah. I think that's a safe bet. Ooh. It really has felt like, you know, if the... Like, in the early games of both games, it was just like, our opponent has the answer. Yeah, just all the black mana. Not what we were looking for. Every time we have played a Charforger, our opponents have had answers. Even with all 4. The Tyranax deck, I think, went either 1-3 or 2-3. It didn't have a good record. But it did not 0-3. Can we avert the 0-3 here? Okay, we do have a 2-drop, which I like. We actually have a 1-drop, too, in Furnace Skull Bomb. Will we ever get to keep a Charforger in play? I don't know. Would be nice. Turn 2 Fusling, really? Where were you on turn 1? I think we're supposed to play the Slinger, though I could see an argument now for waiting to do that. Since if the Slinger has a target, things obviously go a little better. Yeah, let's just play the Fusling. Yeah, right now I can sack the Skull Bomb just to grow my Fusling if I really want to. I'm trying to decide if I do. Makes it a 2-1 trample this turn. I think it's probably worth doing, although I'm a little bit greedy with my Charforger here. Because once Charforger's in play, sacking it does even more. Yeah. Hey, another Charforger. We do have 4 of them. I think it's dead. And probably exiled so we don't even get a Fusling trigger. Yeah, there are good green cards in the like big green cards that are good, but 7 and 8s are a little too expensive mostly. I did have a different deck, one that I didn't stream with the Tyranax that did better. I think it went 5 and 3. Yep. What a surprise. What a surprise that is. All right, so we'll get poisoned here. All right, and then we're going to attack. going to play a Terramorphic Expanse. We're going to play a Charforger. I'm glad I've played these Charforgers already, because... Okay. So I definitely want to kill the Justiciar if I, Yeah. Trying to figure out what I want to do here. I think I'm going to attack with the Fuseling. I imagine they take it. If they don't... Yeah, you know, it's probably just better to play Shrapnel Slinger up front here. We're going to sack a token. We're going to blow up the Justiciar. It is, in fact, an artifact. And... obviously, I could use this ability here. Let's attack them with the Fuseling. Do I want to sack this for 1? I can only do the second effect sorcery speed, but... it doesn't really... it's not worth doing, I don't think. It does make me wish a little bit that I'd played my Forge Hammer Centurion up front, but... you know, that's okay. The color balance isn't great. Blue doesn't really have any good commons. Like any common that makes you want to draft it, I should say. I mean, they're playable commons. That's the format's biggest problem. Well, opponent did just draw 1,000,000 cards, but... okay, so I think we use the Skull Bomb's ability here. A Churning Reservoir. That's actually really good on this particular board state. So, let's see what we reveal off the top. Okay. That works pretty well. Guess we attack with our token and our Shrapnel Slinger. Yeah. We're at least getting to go off with Charforger. We haven't gotten to in any of our other games. Alright, so then we play our Cackler. Then we play Mountain, then we play our Reservoir. Well, that's sad. But not the end of the world. I think we're supposed to put it on the Centurion, since it can make something unable to block. Nice. Well, I think we swing out here. And make Zenith Chronicler unable to block. Yeah. Then we can make a 1/1 in our second main phase. So we can make a 1/1 this turn, now that we've removed oil counters. 3, 6, 7, 8. So we're 1 damage away from lethal. Interesting. Oh, it is lethal. I don't know what kind of math I was doing. But, I'll take it. Yeah! We averted the 0-3 at least. Still no 0-3 in the format. I feel like this deck probably deserves to do better than 1-3, so... I was a little surprised they took all of that. There were just so many cards that killed them, but they must have felt like they were in a situation where they were dead unless I didn't have something anyway. So sometimes you end up in that spot. And look at that. We finally got a Fusling in the opening hand. Hopefully our opponent's slow. We do need to draw a 3rd land now. We don't do it. Man, if we drew a 3rd land there, it would have been completely absurd because we could have played the Sprinter, put the counters on that, and smashed for 8. But, alas. Okay, there's our 3rd land. I think my plan A, but my plan for last turn is what I'm going to try to do this turn. They may have counter magic up. They may have had it up last turn, too. In which case, I don't feel like I lost out as much. Yeah, it looks like they have Bring the Ending or Reject Imperfection. So, because our opponent is likely to have Reject Imperfection, I think I'd rather play the Cackler here. Yeah, the counterspells aren't great. We have been burned by them a couple times recently, but they're not great. Do I attack with my Shrapnel Slinger? I think we do. It's a 1-for-1 trade if they do something, so... So yeah, let's play Cackler. Yeah, looks like Bring the Ending is happening. Felt like they had a bunch of counter magic. So far that has borne out. Yeah, Bring the Ending's fine. I don't think I would say it's good, but it is fine. Okay. So if Thrumming Bird hits me, they're going to have, you know, Corrupted online, but Green-Blue doesn't have the scariest Corrupted cards, so I'm not that worried about that threshold in this particular game. So, I guess I'm going to attack with my Shrapnel Slinger again and see what happens. And, yeah, then we'll try to play Charforger. I feel like our opponent loves counter magic, though. Yeah. Wild. Lately, the last 2 streams, I've run into a deck that had, like, 6 counter spells in it, and both times, they kind of owned me. Which I don't think is that reflective of the format. You know, but in this particular game, it's feeling pretty bad. It's interesting they don't want to attack with their synthesizer. Wouldn't mind drawing a land. That's not a land. It's not bad, though. Well, let's try to kill the synthesizer here. Look at that, something resolved. Then we'll attack for 3. And I have to decide if I want to kill the thrumming bird. I don't think so. Double thrumming birds now. I think if they choose Eye of Malcator, that means it's not a creature unless they play an artifact. So, yeah, I don't think that's what you want to do. Oh, interesting. So it just gives them another one on the table. We've had a knack for drawing the, Nimraiser when we just don't have the mana. Like, like we keep drawing it, and then we hit 5 mana like 3 turns later, and it's like, yeah, it's too late now. All right, so we've got to sneak in for some damage one way or another. I think we play Forge Hammer Centurion. And then we play... I think we just attack with Shrapnel Slinger. That's bad. I think their deck is pretty suspect, but it's probably going to beat us. All right. Deck's not great, but we've had really poor luck. That's usually what it takes to have a 1/3. Yeah, well, there's one of the big 6 mana cards. It's amazing. We can kill the creature it's attached to, but we can't kill the equipment. So I think that pretty much does it for us. Their deck is doing so many different things that you don't really want to be doing all of in the same deck, like between the poison part and the artifact deck of it all. Okay. So this costs 7 to equip, so they would have to draw a land. I mean, I actually don't think Eye of Malcator is that good. I don't even like playing it that much in blue-white decks, mostly because it doesn't actually add to the board in too many situations. It's okay, but it's not a card I love. We still do kind of have a puncher's chance here. The problem is our mana. Like, if I could play Skull Bomb, Glare, and Cackler all at once here, we'd have a chance. But, that's not going to happen. We've been stuck on 4 a lot. Do I attack here? I don't hate it. I don't love it either, though. So if they draw a land, they just put the battle chair on something and we're done. Okay, they didn't draw a land, so at least there's that. Where's that Hazardous Blast? So we go up to 8 poison. We'll be dead to poison next turn now. Yeah. That was disappointing. I mean, I definitely don't think our deck was great, but yeah. I do think the last 2 decks that beat us were both very sketchy. And probably our decks we should have been able to beat. But our deck wasn't awesome, and we had some poor luck. So these are things that that are going to lead to you not having a good record.